The gaming world was abuzz with a little bit of anticipation and trepidation as Redfall, Arcane Studios' latest creation, approached its release date. With the studio's track record, including hits like Dishonored and 2017's Prey, exceptions were hopeful at first. But once first gameplay looks started to appear, that hype turned into fear and suspicion. And once the four-person looter shooter was released into the wild, the masses kind of revolted. Rightfully so, in some cases. Now that Redfall has hit the market and been out for a little bit, I think it's time to look at how it has fared in this post-release landscape. Was marketing the problem? Was the Xbox exclusive title something that doomed the game from the start? Or was it truly just a good game and people just dunked on it to dunk on it? I want to say before we start this, I did enjoy the game, but not in the way the developers might have liked. It was a great turn your brain off kind of game, play a movie or something in the background, which is great for games like Elder Scrolls or like MMOs where you're just doing the same repetitive tasks, but when you're trying to tell a story, that's where I think it falters. I think Redfall is not a bad game, it just needs some time to figure out what it truly wants to be. My issue does come mainly with this game from being unfinished and shipping at full price and is still sold for full price if you do not have Game Pass right now. But that is the plight of the modern gaming world. I can forgive a lot about games. Hello, Anthem, one of my favorite games of all time, and I think we all know how good Arcane games can be, but for me, the last few games from them have kind of slowed my love for this company down, and Redfall has kind of made me second guess some things. However, I think I'm alone in this feeling, and that does not mean that there's not hardworking people that have put time, dedication, blood, sweat, tears, and countless hours into this game. My aim is to take a look at everything around this game, not degrade or hurt the people who truly had no choice in anything that happened at all with this game, marketing wise, roadmap wise, or beyond making a character smile. Back 4 Blood is a similar type of game that has made decent changes for the better since its own troubled launch. Back 4 Blood, I was the one to do the review on Level 1 Gaming. I played it 3 days early, and it is hard not to draw similarities between them. I also played the Den and the Cult of the Worm DLC for Back 4 Blood, so I think I have a good marker on how that game has evolved and changed for the better, and how Redfall as well can do the same thing. And I know people are going to say that's kind of unfair to draw comparisons. They are the exact same game. One is zombies, one is vampires. They are four-person co-op looter shooters. It's going to be hard for me not to draw similarities, and I don't want to bring games like Left 4 Dead into this conversation because I feel like Left 4 Dead is the pinnacle of games like this, so these games to be compared in the same sentence with them is not even fair because they don't reach even a modicum of a fraction of what Left 4 Dead has done for the co-op looter shooter community. I truly think that if Arcane sticks to the game and listens to the community that is actually still there, that wants to help them, they can turn this game around. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they are going to shutter the game soon because the player count has gone down so drastically, but I think there is people that want to see this game turn around. It needs to recarve its niche that it was in and expound on what's already there. The supernatural and vampiric lore presented is exciting. It just ends way too soon, yet not soon enough, but I did feel this way with Dishonored 2 and Deathloop at the same time, so this is just a me thing. I am also going to be talking about a little bit of spoilers here and there, so if you don't want some light spoilers, I'll see you guys in the next video. Arcane gave us a different take on vampiric lore, because Redfall was able to unleash players into a world overrun by vampires with no relief, be it day or night. The Xbox exclusive title is set in a small fictional town of Redfall, Massachusetts, where hunters, what we are tasked with eradicating a downright chilling menace using an arsenal of weapons, some of our favorites, and a few unique to the world, each with their own vampiric twist in there. The game's blend of first-person shooting mechanics and unique supernatural abilities offers Redfall a specific take on the oh-so-often explored vampiric lore. Redfall has a lot of high points and things that it does need to work on, and despite the middle-of-the-road scores, I do think this game has a certain amount of charm to it. I do want to go over a few positive aspects, and then we're going to get into some criticisms, and we're going to go from there. Remember, this is all love. This is not to degrade, tear down, or do anything to the people that truly had no decision-making in any of this, okay? The first aspect I want to talk about is the world building. Redfall excelled in creating a rich atmospheric setting that felt like a small coastal town cursed by supernatural menaces. The towns of the game do feel lived in, with detailed environments. The buildings are full. Each building you go into, there's so much stuff to pick up, and there's so much lore and history around in the map. And that's right, I said towns, because right as you feel like the game is about to wrap up nicely with a nice bow, you move on to a new area called Burial Point, and the vibe of the game changes from suburban, kind of right on the water coastal town, to rural, farmland type, but yet still coastal town feeling. While not the biggest maps in the world, they are packed with things to explore. I wouldn't put them on the level of like a Persona or a Yakuza, but there is little things in every corner if you are willing to explore them. The blinding sunlight and chilling nights only enhance what spooks are available, if only for a few hours once you get into the routine of the game. Now, unlike Back 4 Blood, I know we're going to keep referencing this, Redfall only has 4 characters to choose from, which is, I think Back 4 Blood started with 4 characters or 5, something like that. I cannot remember. It's been like a year, so forgive me. But Redfall has 4 characters, each with their own unique abilities, powers, and backstories. The diversity adds depth and replayability to the gameplay experience and definitely helps break up some of that sameness you feel in games like this, where you're just reskinning the same character. Each character has something unique to offer to the table. My personal favorite was Layla Ellison, and not just because Queen Novine, I am a simp for her. I played with only Layla, although I did start runs with everybody else, but once I got to the end of the Layla playthrough, I just couldn't be bothered to keep playing. I was impressed with the abilities though, and the way they could be upgraded and used in the world, especially that elevator power and her ex-boyfriend Jason that would come and kill all the guys around there for you, and how you could upgrade that power. It really turned the tide of fighting in my favor so many times. And one of the final points, this is not the final point overall of positivity for the game, but just the final point I really want to hit on is, although I played a majority solo, Redfall's focus on cooperative play was a standout feature and probably kept this game alive a lot longer than it has been so far, even though I know that's shaky at best to say that. Playing with friends provides an enjoyable experience, as teamwork is critical to overcoming the challenges posed by the vampires, especially in the den areas. You do not want to go into den areas unprepared. Having a friend watch your back can really be helpful, and, you know, unlike Back 4 Blood, enemies don't walk through walls into a room you just cleared out. Digress, I gotta stop ripping. Let's focus back on Redfall. The co-op really helped carry this game because everything is better when you're playing with friends. Now, to the challenges and criticism this game has faced. This is not to tear down the people that have already been kicked by the release of this game, but to document the general non-extreme and valid points that the gaming community has pointed out about this game. We do not send hate to community managers, coders, developers, artists, voice actors, or anybody involved with a game that truly had no choice in the matter. I am sure they hated it too, and are heartbroken by the reception of the game and the continued dunking people do on it. Don't forget, the one person that made the marketing decision, now the 300 people have to suffer. That's not fair, and that's not how we do it. We go for the person that made the actual decisions, not the person that had to enforce them, okay? So let's just be a little bit kinder. One of the standout features was technical issues. There's so many technical issues in this game. A lot of players, including myself, experienced technical glitches, including frame rate drops, minor bugs. I myself experienced going down to like 10 FPS for 2 to 4 seconds on launch day, and even up until the last time I played before uninstalling this game, it was still happening. And these issues can be immersion breaking and frustrating when you know your system, your console, your PC can run this 10 times over. Look, I know I run a 980 Ti, but I also know I can run this game, and I can run games way more intense than this with some optimization, so there's no reason Redfall should be stuttering like that as it did. I think in a bit I may re-download it and replay it, but right now there's too many technical issues for me to go back and it be an enjoyable experience. And I think it is also too close for me uninstalling to now doing this video for me to jump back in and be like, yes, this is a fair look at this game. I think I need space and time away, you know? What I also need space and time away for is the disappointing AI. They couldn't even find the Grand Canyon if they had GPS in both hands. This is one of the sorest points about this game. The setting is cool and the world is built, and this would have been so great to play with friends on Halloween. I would have streamed this on Halloween with my friends. And I feel like gamers will put up with a lot. I mean, we will put up with a lot, but game-breaking AI is just not going to do it. Game-breaking AI is always going to kill your game, no matter what. Look at Alien Colonial Marines. It's a pretty-looking game. That AI is bad. I think this would have to be the first thing they truly fix. If they ever do want to work on this game, you have to fix that AI. You have to make it better. You have to make it more receptive. You have to know that people are there. You have to shoot at to have your AI turn around and shoot at you. There's just it's probably one of the sorest points and easily one of the biggest things they could fix to turn this game around. So I myself, also speaking of technical issues and turning games around, ran into bugs of just getting stuck in places. Like a ledge animation had me spinning in circles, a tree on a slope that was hollow on one side because they didn't put a full tree. Got stuck in that several times. I've even put that on my TikTok. A bit of cliff face that wasn't fully closed and there was a small window for me to sneak in and fall through the map. Check. I also had some very legitimate anti-cheat concerns, as I know how very easy it is to get past de novo. And honestly, the first day, I did see some of the cheat engines that I know already had multiplayer cheats up for Redfall, so de novo did absolutely nothing. I think the game could have gotten away with a lot, and I will say this again, if they had just fixed the AI would have held the water at bay while they could weld everything else shut. I truly think the AI is the biggest issue of this game. One thing that I know is going to be hella specific to only a small group of people, but is one of my biggest, this is my second point of criticism, is the lack of cutscenes. The lack of fully animated cutscenes was frankly deceiving and honestly false marketing. Everything in the game's marketed, like from every trailer we saw, had no reason to suggest in this AAA game, this Xbox billion-dollar company exclusive game, that we are not getting arcane level cutscenes fully acted, fully everything. But to do, when I saw the animatics, which is an animated storyboard, so zoom in, zoom out, we've all seen the cutscenes from this game. I was shocked, honestly. It's like, I would expect this from an indie game because that makes sense to save money by not animating cutscenes or not having to make cutscenes. But for a full $90 game here in Canada, and that is for the base, that is not for the special edition, absolutely not. $40 maybe, and that's pushing it for this game. If this game wasn't on Game Pass, I wouldn't be talking about this. I would have never played this at all. I was not hyped for it. I was not looking forward to it. But when it came out, I was like, let me give it a try because, I'm a sucker for a bad movie. I'm a sucker for a bad game. And again, I do find this game charming, but there's so much that I'm like, this is the route you chose? Oh, I don't know about that. At least Back 4 Blood, I know I'm going to keep referencing this, Back 4 Blood had some cutscenes. Anyway, moving on to my final point. The thing that drove me the most crazy about this game was the points of no return. This game has 2 points of no return that you can possibly trigger without even knowing. And I did the first one. This might have changed since the last time I played, though. Again, I uninstalled it at least 2-3 months ago now. I am someone who truly enjoys exploring to the max, get my full money's worth out of the content, because even though I did not buy it, I'm still paying for Game Pass, so I'm getting my money's worth out. But Redfall has 2 points of where it hints that this may be the last mission of the chapter, but it doesn't outright say it. And you go to points where you can't go back to the previous map, which there is no way to return to the previous map unless you are starting a brand new game over. And it does not tell you that is the consequence of moving forward. It just says, hey, this is kind of like the last mission here. Doesn't say, hey, wrap everything up, you cannot come back here at all. But that could have changed since the time I played. But that's just me. I like to explore 100%, and I was left a little miffed when it forced me into this new area while I was still exploring. What open world game doesn't allow you to explore from top to bottom? We're going to get out of the negative criticisms and all that. I know there's so many more, but again, I'm not here to rag. I want to talk about the impact of Redfall on Arcane. With Redfall's release, Arcane Studios has reaffirmed its reputation of creating innovative and immersive worlds. There's no doubt about that. The studio's commitment to pushing boundaries of storytelling and gameplay does remain evident. However, there is so much wrong with this game that it was not only delayed, but it still charges full price with a roadmap that is looking shaky at best. I did not make this to rip into developers, voice actors, or anybody other than the people who made the choices to take this game towards the future it is suffering from right now. The top people, who are the people to point fingers at. It seems no small part of the game blame also goes to marketing. The marketing and the community response to that marketing can make or break even the best or worst games. Look at Cuphead. Literally, we saw it for 10 seconds and it has become an indie darling and a bastion of what games can be. it does feel like the heavy Xbox exclusive, which is within their full rights to market and everything, almost did set this game up for failure, like a train leaving a station before all the people were on board, or a cruise ship leaving before everybody was on board. Once the game came out, it did become a main talking point as well. Is this is the quality of Xbox, what is the future of Starfield? And the two couldn't help but be compared. It was a common question that I heard, and that in itself is a whole can of worms that we are not going to dive into right now. I know this will not hurt Arcane in any way, shape, or form, even though some people would say Deathloop was start of the slump for the company. I would personally say Dishonored too, but that's my personal opinion. I wasn't over the moon for this game, but it still does have good bones and structures that I just think need to be refined. Arcane themselves will be more than fine, and we will all await either more Redfall news or more whatever Prey 2 or whatever they're working on next, Dishonored 3. We will all be clamoring for whatever they have to announce next. So now that you've sat with me for this long, I do want to start wrapping this up. I want to say thank you guys for watching. First of all, if you want to see me deep dive into any more topics, let me know. And if this was too long, also please let me know and I can trim it up or not make videos this long. Or if you want to see more like rambly long videos like this, let me know. But Redfall is experiencing some scary numbers right now. It's no secret that the player count has been on a steady decline in recent weeks. What started as excitement built into a bleak but still hopeful kind of forecast turned into a heartbreaking story. While the game's initial release garners a significant player base, it appears that factors that we just finished going over in this last video, including competitions from other titles, have led to a dwindling player count. This decline, while disheartening for fans and developers alike, also presents an opportunity for the devs to take the valuable feedback and make necessary adjustments to breathe new life into this game. I know it's easier said than done because they don't have a choice. This comes from the higher-ups, but that's what needs to be done. As the gaming community eagerly watches and hopes that Redfall can rise from its slump and reclaim its spot as a prominent player in the gaming landscape, I think it can. I honestly think it can. If games like Final Fantasy XIV, ESO, and again, the one I've referenced so much, Back 4 Blood, can turn it around, I think there is hope for this game. As with other major releases, post-launch updates and patches are going to be expected. The roadmap, again, looks shaky at best, but I think Arcane Studios has a history of providing excellent post-release support for its games. I think they even still provide support for, like, Dishonored, so they have our backs when it comes to things, and it's likely that Redfall will be no exception. This ongoing commitment to improving will undoubtedly enhance the player experience over time if they want to stick with it, and that's the big thing. If. And I don't know if they want to. Redfall from Arcane Studios has made a significant mark on the gaming landscape, be it good, bad, or wherever you fall in between, and that mark can change in the future. As the studio continues to fine-tune the game through updates, Redfall does have the potential to evolve into a beloved title and become a cult classic, although I think that's a far way off. But I do believe it's truly not too late for Redfall. But I don't think Arcane is going to want to stick with it. And I don't think it's going to be Arcane's choice whether they stick with it or not. I think it's going to be Xbox's. But let me know what you think of everything I just kind of rambled about. Let me know if you've played Redfall, if you want to see more like in-depth kind of dives like this, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.